give rise to 6 other states after fulfilling our own requirements. The first credit for this goes to the farmers of the country and the state who have toiled day in and day out to feed us. Then the governments, both at the center and the states at different times, who have brought out policies to address the bottlenecks and taken steps to remove them. And the most important link to make this possible is our scientific community, those who are present here, who have burned the midnight oil to continuously innovate and give the farmers the right variety of produce, not only good quality of rice, but also great quantity of rice. Just consider these simple statistics. When India got independence, we had about 120 million hectares of arable land, which increased marginally to 160 million hectares in 2000 and has remained more or so constant since then. But we are now able to feed more than 4 times of our population. That is the story of research in farm sector. This was possible because of the tremendous increase in yield rate. As I understand, it has almost saturated in the northern and western part of the country. But there is a huge scope in eastern Indian states like our state, including Odisha. Even before I took over as the agriculture minister, I have been telling in different forums that the research output from lab to farm should reach out to the farmers at a faster pace. I would like to see not only faster adoption of such researches, but also adoption of the same on a mass scale to ensure more income for the farmers. I would urge the scientific community present here to look into this matter. While we have progressed very well as far as research and development is concerned, there are a few issues as well as to be addressed. One, how to develop more short duration paddy variety, which will not only result in less water consumption, but also because of early harvest, will leave enough moisture for the rabi crops to like pulses, particularly in non-irrigated areas of the country as well as our state. One of the aspects that can be thought of, how can we cut down the cost of production as farmers feel paddy cultivation is becoming increasingly expensive. Another challenge is to promote climate resilient farm practices and how to introduce more and more water efficient varieties as opposed to the water guzzling varieties preferred more by the farmers at present. The state government under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Chief Minister Naveen Cuttack has been increasing the allocation to the agriculture and allied sectors, including provision of agri-loan at 0% up to 1 lakh rupees to the farmers, advancing maximum agri-loans through cooperative banks, provision of the seeds at affordable prices, farm equipment at subsidized rates, training and extension, etc. This has also resulted in increased production for our farming community. There has been a conscious decision to include more and more women in the farm activities through incentives. The millets revolution, as everyone knows today, is a glaring example of women power in agriculture, which is driven primarily by the women in this of our state. I wish all the best for this second Indian Rice Congress and hope the learnings will be extremely beneficial for the farming community. A copy of the proceedings of this conference with all the papers being presented here may kindly be marked to my office so that we can take things forward for creating a better ecosystem for our farmers by adopting the doable things. In the end, I again thank Honorable President of India, Honorable Governor of Odisha, Honorable Union Minister for gracing this occasion. This is a great way to say thank you to our Annadatas. Bande Utkal Janani, Jai Hind.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आभार आपका मंत्री महोदय। अब मैं भारत सरकार के केंद्रीय कृषि एवं किसान कल्याण मंत्री माननीय श्री नरेंद्र सिंह तोमर जी को उनके अभिभाषण के लिए आमंत्रित करता हूँ। आदरणीय मंत्री महोदय।
अंतर्राष्ट्रीय चावल कांग्रेस के इस द्वितीय कार्यक्रम में हम सब के मध्य विराजमान हमारे भारतवर्ष की महामहिम राष्ट्रपति श्रीमती द्रौपदी मुर्मू जी, उड़ीसा राज्य के राज्यपाल मान्यवर श्री गणेशी लाल जी, उड़ीसा राज्य के कृषि मंत्री आदरणीय श्री रणवेंद्र सिंह जी, डीजी ICAR डॉक्टर पाठक जी, डॉक्टर नायक साहब, डॉक्टर अग्रवाल जी, विधायकगण, इस पूरी कॉन्फ्रेंस में भाग लेने के लिए आए सभी वैज्ञानिक गण, केंद्र सरकार और राज्य सरकार के अधिकारीगण, किसान भाइयों बहनों, विद्यार्थियों और मीडिया के मित्रों, आज हम सबके लिए बहुत ही सौभाग्य का विषय है कि जब अंतर्राष्ट्रीय चावल कांग्रेस के इस कार्यक्रम में माननीय राष्ट्रपति जी ने अपनी उपस्थिति की स्वीकृति प्रदान की है। हम सब जानते हैं कि किसी भी कार्यक्रम में या किसी भी संस्थान में महामहिम जी का उपस्थित होना यह अपने आप में एक बड़ी घटना होती है और मैं समझता हूँ कि उनकी ये उपस्थिति सिर्फ चावल कांग्रेस के वैज्ञानिकों को ही नहीं, ICAR के 100 से अधिक संस्थान, 713 कृषि विज्ञान केंद्र, 3 केंद्रीय विश्वविद्यालय, 74 से अधिक राज्य के कृषि विश्वविद्यालय और उससे जुड़े अनेक कृषि वैज्ञानिक और लाखों की तादाद में जो किसान हैं, उन सब को प्रोत्साहित करेगी, उन सब का उत्साहवर्धन करेगी। मैं इस मौके पर कृषि मंत्रालय की ओर से, ICAR की ओर से महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी का हृदय से बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूँ, बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूँ। इस मौके पर उड़ीसा के गवर्नर, राज्य सरकार के मंत्री जी भी यहाँ उपस्थित हैं। मैं उनके प्रति भी निश्चित रूप से कृतज्ञता ज्ञापित करता हूँ। भारत एक कृषि प्रधान देश है, इसलिए सरकारों की हमेशा कोशिश रहती है कि प्रधानता को प्राथमिकता दी जाए और मुझे कहते हुए प्रसन्नता है कि हमारे किसानों के परिश्रम ने, वैज्ञानिकों के अनुसंधान ने कृषि के क्षेत्र में बहुत प्रगति की है। आज खाद्यान्न की दृष्टि से हम सिर्फ आत्मनिर्भर ही नहीं, दुनिया को भी मदद करने वाले देशों में से एक बने हैं। यह हम सब के लिए निश्चित रूप से गौरव का विषय है। जहाँ तक चावल का सवाल है, चावल की फसल हमारे फसलों में से प्रमुख फसल है और मुझे कहते हुए प्रसन्नता है कि हमारे वैज्ञानिकों ने अब तक अनुसंधान करके चावल की दृष्टि से देखें तो 160 बीज की किस्मों को ईजाद किया है। साथ ही साथ जो प्रधानमंत्री जी का बल है कि कुपोषण की समस्या को दूर करने के लिए पौष्टिकता खान पान में बढ़ाने के लिए फोर्टिफाइड चावल की किस्मों को हमें पैदा करना चाहिए। ICAR ने उस दिशा में भी कदम बढ़ाए हैं और CR 310, 311, 315 धान की किस्में पैदा की हैं। सरकार ने फोर्टिफाइड चावल PDS में वितरण किया जाए, इसके लिए भी पायलट प्रोजेक्ट प्रारंभ किया है। बजट में उसका प्रावधान कर दिया गया है और प्रधानमंत्री जी की कोशिश है कि हमारे खान पान की व्यवस्था ऐसी हो कि कोई भी बच्चा, कोई भी व्यक्ति हमारे देश में कुपोषित न रहे। चावल के उत्पादन की दृष्टि से भी अगर हम देखेंगे तो आज हम 130 मिलियन टन पर खड़े हुए हैं। 2010 से अगर हम तुलना करेंगे तो मैं समझता हूं कि लगभग 46% की वृद्धि हुई है, जिसमें हमारे किसानों का परिश्रम और वैज्ञानिकों के रिसर्च का निश्चित रूप से योगदान है। आज चावल की दृष्टि से भारत दूसरा सबसे बड़ा उत्पादक देश है। निर्यात की दृष्टि से हम देखें तो हम पहले नंबर पर खड़े हैं, लेकिन हमारे सभी वैज्ञानिक और किसानों का प्रयत्न है और इच्छा है कि हम हर दृष्टि से नंबर 1 ही न रहें। दुनिया की जो आवश्यकता है उस खाद्यान्न की आवश्यकता को पूर्ण करने की दिशा में हमारे कदम निरंतर बढ़ते रहें। कृषि का क्षेत्र निरंतरता का क्षेत्र है, उतार चढ़ाव का क्षेत्र है, प्राकृतिक परिस्थितियों पर निर्भर करने वाला क्षेत्र है। इसलिए अनेक प्रकार की चुनौतियां कृषि के क्षेत्र के समक्ष आती ही रहती हैं। मुझे कहते हुए प्रसन्नता है, प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी के सानिध्य में इन 8.5 वर्षों में लगातार इस बात की कोशिश की है कि किसान को नुकसान की भरपाई हो सके। इसलिए प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा जैसा सुरक्षा कवच मिले। PM किसान सम्मान निधि के अंतर्गत अभी तक 11.5 करोड़ किसानों को 2,24,000 करोड़ रुपया उनके खाते में जमा करा के उनकी आय बढ़ाने का प्रयत्न किया गया है। कृषि के क्षेत्र में लागत कम करने के लिए, उत्पादन बढ़ाने के लिए, पानी की कमी जैसी चुनौतियों का समाधान करने के लिए निश्चित रूप से टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग अत्यंत आवश्यक है। कृषि के क्षेत्र में टेक्नोलॉजी का प्रवेश हो, निजी निवेश हो, इस दृष्टि से भी इस बार बजट में प्रावधान किए गए हैं। भारत सरकार राज्यों के साथ मिलकर डिजिटल एग्रीकल्चर मिशन पर काम कर रही है। इसके लिए भी बजट में इस बार 450 करोड़ रुपए का प्रावधान किया गया है। हमारे किसी भी किसान को, जो छोटा किसान है जिसकी संख्या देश में 86% है, यह किसान किसी साहूकारी कर्ज में न दबे, इसलिए अल्पकालिक ऋण के रूप में जहां 2014 तक यह ऋण 6-7 लाख करोड़ हुआ करता था, अब प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने इसकी ऋण सीमा को बढ़ाकर 20 लाख करोड़ रुपया किया है। इससे भी निश्चित रूप से किसान की ताकत बढ़ी है। लगातार भारत सरकार की यह कोशिश है कि किसानी के क्षेत्र में निजी निवेश आए और इसके लिए कि कृषि और संबद्ध कार्यकलापों के लिए लगभग आत्मनिर्भर पैकेज के अंतर्गत 1.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए का प्रावधान किया गया है। 1 लाख करोड़ रुपया एग्रीकल्चर इंफ्रा फंड के रूप में, 15,000 करोड़ रुपया एनिमल हस्बेंड्री के लिए, 20,000 करोड़ रुपया फिशरीज के लिए, 4,000 करोड़ रुपया औषधि खेती के लिए, 500 करोड़ रुपया मधुमक्खी पालन के लिए, 10,000 करोड़ रुपया छोटी प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट के लिए। इसके कारण भी निजी निवेश के दरवाजे खुले हैं और गांव तक जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर पहुंचना है उसको पहुंचाने का प्रयत्न किया जा रहा है। मुझे कहते हुए प्रसन्नता है कि एग्रीकल्चर इंफ्रा फंड में अभी तक जो परियोजनाएं स्वीकृत की गई हैं उनमें 16,000 करोड़ रुपए का ऋण स्वीकृत किया गया है और इसका प्रसाद भी आने वाले कल में हमारे देश की कृषि को मिलने वाला है। हमारी कोशिश है कि 1 लाख करोड़ रुपया जल्दी से जल्दी ज़मीन पर पहुँचे, इसमें निजी पैसा भी मिले और निजी निवेश मिलकर निश्चित रूप से कृषि को उन्नत कृषि के रूप में और कृषि को फायदे की कृषि के रूप में तब्दील करने में हम लोग आगे बढ़ें। मुझे आज आप सबके बीच में उपस्थित रहते हुए बहुत प्रसन्नता है, क्योंकि यहाँ देश और विदेश से सभी वैज्ञानिक गण उपस्थित हुए हैं। महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी का सानिध्य, उनकी उपस्थिति हमको प्रेरित करने वाली है और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में अनेक विचार विमर्श होंगे, आने वाले कल का रोड मैप बनेगा और जो निष्कर्ष आएंगे वो उद्देश्य की पूर्ति में सहायक होंगे। मैं इस कॉन्फ्रेंस की सफलता के लिए अपनी ओर से बहुत शुभकामनाएं देता हूं और पुनः एक बार आप सब की ओर से, मंत्रालय की ओर से महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी का हृदय से बहुत बहुत स्वागत है, बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन है। जय हिंद, धन्यवाद।
आपका सहृदय धन्यवाद और आभार मंत्री महोदय। सविनय निवेदन उड़ीसा के राज्यपाल माननीय प्रोफेसर गणेशी लाल जी से कि वे अपने सुविचारों से इस सभा का मार्गदर्शन करें। माननीय राज्यपाल महोदय।
जगन्नाथ स्वामी नयन पथगामी भव। Honorable President of India, the doyen among the presidents of the states in the world, Honorable Shri Narendra Singh Ji Tomar, the pioneer in the Panchjanya of architecture, infrastructure in agriculture, offering the delicious and sumptuous feast to 11.5 crore farmers, families of India. Honorable Ravindra Pratap Swaini, Minister in the government, leaving no stone unturned to assuage the sufferings through a scheme, Kalia, launched by the state government. Honorable P.K. Agrawal ji, Honorable Ramesh Nayak ji, and Honorable our guide and philosopher, Dr. H. Pathak ji, Indian Council of Agriculture Research. And the scientists coming from abroad of my country. I am just here only to congratulate you, to commend you on your sincere, sensitive endeavors to bring out a revolution in the field of rice production, protection. Of course, I may not mention, but I do mention through computerized modern communication facilities, employing all possible technologies, but must be under the orbit or umbrella of intuitive knowledge, you see, that you possess, you see. Of course, curbing, controlling, disciplining all the disorders and the disharmonies which the Honorable Minister has just explained, you see, maybe less labor, maybe less water, maybe less funds, etc., unlimited land, etc., whatever it is. But of course, all these challenges are met by the scientists of the world today. Of course, you meet the many challenges of drought-resistant and high varieties of rice also, you see. So, I offer my ovations to the scientists who are present over here today, basically to the yaj in all of you, you see, which speaks that performing the prescribed duty is perfection. As far as your contribution and your efforts are concerned, you see, well, I may remind you that a handful of rice, you see, just given to Krishna by Sudama, can feed the entire humanity, the entire universe, and the entire population of the world, you see. I also remember, you see, once a child, you see, daughter departs from my home. She leaves, scatters the fruits, you see, to the parental home, and once she becomes a bride, then again you must have experienced, you see, she again scatters and spreads all these sweetest possible fruits to the coming house, to the in-laws' house also, you see. So as far as rice is concerned, you will excuse me if I say that it is not a food, it is a fruit, you see. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhakteha prayachati. Lord Krishna speaks to Arjuna. छिलके से ही तो निकलता है चावल, छिलके से ही केला निकलता है, छिलके से ही आम निकलता है, छिलके से ही अनानास निकलता है, छिलके से ही एप्पल निकलता है, तो छिलके से ही चावल निकलता है. So it is a fruit, of course, no doubt. You see, therefore two small feasts of rice, you see, given to Lord Krishna can feed the whole of the world. That is what the Honorable Minister was speaking to us, that we are exporting, and the time is gradually coming, you see, we will feed the whole of the world also, you see. If the invisible virus can try to swallow the world, you see, and I of course admit, and you will agree with me, अगर नीलकंठ ने कालकूट न पिया होता तो सी फूड खाना बंद हो जाता. अभी और कोई नीलकंठ तो आने वाला नहीं है, इसलिए of course the people shall have depend upon only on patram pushpam phalam toyam, and the time is gradually coming, you see, and India will take the lead in that direction, you see. Therefore, the scriptures, my scriptures speak and they analyze, you see, that senses are greater than the mind. Senses are greater than the body. Mind is greater, higher than the senses. Intellect is higher than the mind, you see. Soul is higher than the intellect. And internal potency, that is even higher than the soul, you see. And Brahma is higher than all of this. And the scriptures speak that anna, this chaval, this rice is Brahma, you see. And also Lord Krishna speaks, annad bhavanti bhutani prajanyat ansambhavaha yajjat bhavati prajanya yajjaha karam samudva. What is this yajja? That is the intuitive knowledge, you see, which in deliberation, in coming deliberations, you will be deliberating upon, meditating upon, reflecting upon, thinking upon, and musing upon in the times to come, or in your 2 days, 3 days conference, whatever it is. You will certainly give a thought to it, you see, that yajja is what? Yajja is, of course, no doubt, you see. And therefore, the people in the world are speaking these slogans, you see, aham annam, aham annam, aham annam, aham annat, aham annat, aham annat. Main hi anna hu. All the human beings and the other, whatever the living or non-living articles are there, they live on food grains, you can say, but I say that they live on fruits, you see, and rice is, of course, no doubt a fruit, you see. Therefore, not speaking much, you see, because I don't know much of the things, but the time will certainly come, you see, when India will be feeding not only as far as the nutrition problem is concerned. India will not only be feeding the Indians only. Today we are very much concerned about the 11.5 crore families, you see, families of the farmers, you see, particularly the children also, that their nutritious elements should be strong enough to meet every challenge in the world, you see. But we will be there, you see, to feed the whole of the world in times to come. That is very much assured, and nobody can. I can't make a prophecy, but this is going to happen, you see. I don't know what will be coming very shortly, that the seafood will not be perhaps permissible to the persons, you see. And people will forget about eating beef and etc., everything, because these are the products of the divine, you see. Divine dwells in them, and how can I afford to have divine in my stomach, you see? It is in my heart, you see, that dwells in my heart. There are two hearts. One heart is for the circulation of the blood, but the other heart is sensitive, sincere, and supplies me with intuitive knowledge which meets all the challenges. Not saying much, paying my ovations to all of you over here. Vande Utkal Janani Bharat Mata ki jai.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आभार माननीय राज्यपाल महोदय। ये हम सब के लिए बहुत ही गर्व का विषय है कि लाखों युवाओं की प्रेरणा स्रोत कठिन परिस्थितियों में अपने धैर्य और अटूट विश्वास से बड़ी मुश्किलों का सामना करने का हौसला प्रदान करने वाली और सबसे सुखद संयोग कि उड़ीसा के इस पावन धरा से अपने कर्म पथ का शुभारंभ करने वाली माननीय राष्ट्रपति महोदय हमारे मध्य विद्यमान हैं। मैं माननीय राष्ट्रपति महोदया से सविनय निवेदन करता हूं कि वे अपने विचारों और अभिभाषण से इस सभा को अनुग्रहित करें और हमें मार्गदर्शन प्रदान करें। माननीय राष्ट्रपति महोदय।
नमस्कार। गवर्नर ऑफ ओडिशा प्रोफेसर गणेशी लाल जी, यूनियन मिनिस्टर फॉर एग्रीकल्चर and Farmers Welfare and President of ICAR Society, Sri Narendra Singh Tomar ji, Minister of Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment, Government of Odisha, Sri Ranendra Pratap Swami ji, Secretary DARE and Director General ICAR, Dr. Himangshu Pathak ji, President Association of Rice Research Workers, Dr. Pawan Kumar Agarwal ji, Director ICAR National Rice Research Institute, Dr. Amresh Kumar Nayak ji, scientists, students, and all the participants, ladies and gentlemen. I am happy to be here with you today. I am glad to see young scientists, especially women, among you. You have gathered here to participate in the second Indian Rice Congress, which will, over these 4 days, discuss a variety of topics related to this important grain. It is heartening to see a gathering of talented scientists who invest their time and energy for rich research, rice research, and also for Indians' food security and livelihoods. There is no need to underline the importance of rice before this audience. You know very well how rice is the cornerstone of food security in India and also a key factor for our economy. Rice also figures very prominently in our heritage and culture. Right from the Vedas, our ancient literature in Sanskrit and other languages have rich references to this grain and many varieties of rice. Many rituals and ceremonies of various religions, traditions are considered incomplete without akhyat, and the undertaken rites, which is smooth and symbol of prosperity and even the wholeness of life. In many parts of India, the first solid food grain given to a child is usually something made of rice. It also features in famous legends and myths. I am sure you remember many tales, such as the one about Sudama's rice, which underlines the bonds of love between old friends. Rice is rightly called the grain of life. It arguably feeds more people than any other comparable food grain, especially in Asia. India, of course, has been the biggest exporter of the grain, helping people in other parts of the world ensure basic food security and also letting them savor different rice varieties. Ladies and gentlemen, though India is the leading consumer and exporter of rice today, the situation was different when the nation became free. The National Rice Research Institute was established in 1946, soon after the Great Bengal famine and just before we won independence. In those days, we were dependent on imports to meet our food requirements, and often the nation lived what was called a ship-to-mouth existence. If the nation could overcome that dependency and has become the largest exporter, a lot of credit goes to the NRRI. The Institute had contributed immensely to India's food security and also to enhancing farmers' lives. For more than 75 years now, the NRRI has been working in the areas of basics, applied and adaptive research related to paddy, while also imparting training to the various stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, India is proud of its rich biodiversity, and that includes varieties of rice too. Every region of this country boasts of a unique rice grain of its own with a distinct taste. In the last century, as irrigation facilities expanded, rice came to be grown in new places and found new consumers. Such a shift is not always good for the water usage in some regions. The paddy crop requires high amounts of water, but many parts of the world are facing severe water shortage due to climate change. Droughts, floods, and cyclones are now more frequent, making rice cultivation more vulnerable. Even as rice has broken new grounds, there are places where traditional varieties are facing challenges. I am glad to know that traditional rice growers from the tribal communities of Odisha have helped conserve and unique genetic resources of rice for ages. I must mention here the exemplary work of Srimati Kamala Pujari from Koraput, who has been collecting and preserving hundreds of rare and endangered crop varieties, including rice. She was honored with the Padma Shri Award for her inspiring initiative. Thus, the task before us today is to find the middle path, preserving and conserving traditional varieties on one hand and maintaining ecological balance on the other. I am therefore happy to learn that NRRI scientists are actively seeking solutions by collecting, identifying, and characterizing unique rice germplasm that can survive these cultivation challenges. I am told that this Rice Congress has dedicated sessions to discuss these issues. Another challenge is to save the soil from excessive use of chemical fertilizers, which are considered necessary for modern rice cultivation. We need to reduce our dependence on such fertilizers in order to keep our soil healthy. I am confident our scientists are at work to devise eco-friendly rice production systems. Ladies and gentlemen, as rice forms the bedrock of our food security, we must consider its nutritional aspects too. Large section of low-income groups depends on rice, which is often the only source of daily nutrition for them. Therefore, delivering protein, vitamins, and essential micronutrients through rice can help combat malnutrition. I am told ICAR-NRRI has developed India's first high-protein rice called CR-Dhan 310, which will help us in improving the country's overall nutrition profile. I am glad to learn that NRRI has also released a high-zinc rice variety called CR-Dhan 315. The development of such biofortified varieties is an ideal example of science in the service of society. More and more of such efforts will be needed to support the increasing population amid a changing climate. I am confident that India's scientific community, including those present here today, will rise to the challenge. Fruits of science and technology must reach those who need it the most, that is the underprivileged sections of the society. Science and technology will help in removing any division and inequality of society. I hope this process will speed up with more and more young women taking up science and technology as a career. Ladies and gentlemen, I congratulate the Indian Council of Agriculture Research, the National Rice Research Institute, the Association of Rice Research Workers, and other co-organizers for organizing the second Indian Rice Congress. I am confident that after 4 days of extensive deliberations among rice researchers from India and other countries, the organizers will summarize key suggestions for future considerations. A document presenting the gist of deliberations will be helpful to the policy makers of this country. I wish the second Indian Rice Congress a grand success. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आभार माननीय राष्ट्रपति महोदया। निवेदन सभी से राष्ट्रगान के लिए खड़े हो जाएं। राष्ट्रगान।